Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode of Resume Review with Alex Richevsky. It's good to be here. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where my screens are at. It's going to be a pretty short session today, but I hope that we can get to all of the folks that are waiting. It looks like we've got three folks that are waiting to get their resume reviewed. So again, good to be here. My name is Alex. I'm going to be reviewing your product manager resumes today. If you want to know more about product management, business, finance, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss anything. And of course, leave a like and a comment so I know what you think about the channel and the content, and if you want to see more stuff like this in the future. All right, so let me just get started here. First, say hello to everybody in chat. Thank you very much for joining us. Andre, Amit, and Karina, thank you very much for being here. And a question for Alexander, who is in our stream here. Just want to make sure you're ready to go. It looks like you're good to go. So let me just bring you on here. As always, we hope that everything's gonna work. So hang on just a moment and let's try it. Alexander, hello. You are muted, but hopefully once you're muted.
Hey.
All right, great. I can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Also, thank you very much for joining us today. Can you give us maybe a short introduction? Tell us what you're looking to get out of the session.
Sure. Hey everyone, my name is Alex. I'm a fresh PM. Just started about 8 months ago, and I'm looking for new job opportunities or basically relocating to another country. So basically I wanted to get my resume in shape, and I found Alex. I found his channel and the material he made. It's very interesting. It's very useful. Thank you for that. And
my pleasure.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Cool. So you're thinking about getting into product management, or you already have some work experience in the field?
I have a related experience for. I've started a PM role actually February as a junior PM.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. So you got a resume for us to take a look at today?
Sure.
Let me share it, and we will take a look. That's great. Yeah. Thanks very much for watching. Glad you found the videos useful.
Okay.
All right, I see it loading up here.
So, do you see my screen?
It does. Yep. Let's bring it on here. Take a look. All right. Okay, let's just dig in here. All right. So first, you don't have a headline. That's good. Just dig right into the experience. Let's take a look. That's awesome. Nice and clean. That actually looks like, is that the template that from my video? That's awesome. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm a big fan. I'm totally not objective here, but yeah, I like that one a lot. All right, so the reason I like it is obviously it's got a lot of open space. It's clean. It doesn't have anything like different colors or formatting. It's just very kind of clean and to the point. All right, let's get into it. First bullet you got is led a cross-functional team to develop data migration strategy execution path with expected product release in Q4, potentially resulting in saving $50,000. Just put that dollar in front of the 50. Oh, you could, yeah. That's just a minor nit, just to start the session off, and decreasing the churn rate by 3%. Okay, so just let's take a look at what you're actually working with. Health Joy, so it's a cross-functional team, data migration strategy execution plan. So I'm a little bit confused because I certainly like the churn rate decreased by 3%, but I don't understand who exactly is churning less, because if it's a data migration strategy, then I don't exactly understand what it has to do with the product release. And I certainly don't understand what it has to do with the churn. Maybe you could walk me through this.
Yeah, sure. So basically, it's data migration from the internal tool for a state of data to a client-facing tool, basically a client dashboard, where they're able to see the data they're providing, and it's called the renewal process when they're going through the renewal. And the experience today that they're not seeing it, it's just causing a big risk of churn for them. and
So just to be clear, these are internal users or external users?
external users.
Oh, okay. And you're saying that I'm just trying to get a path from like how this data migration helps with churn. Just like simple answer. What do you think?
Basically, since a lot of clients said not like a percentage of clients said like if they're not able to see the data in the dashboard, they're not going forward with us.
Got it. Okay. So you're saying that because of your efforts, they were able to see the data that they wanted more reliably or more consistently, or maybe just see it in general.
Yes, basically yes.
Okay. So I like that. That churn rate is also incidentally a believable number. A lot of times people put stuff like, reduce churn by 50% or something like that, which is extremely hard on any kind of launched product. So I think you could probably shorten that a little bit. This is actually a good example because you're using the bullet to demonstrate that you work with a cross-functional team, you lead a cross-functional team, you work on data migration, which is not just the strategy but the execution of it, and then this product is coming out and you're saving money and you're also decreasing churn. So there's a lot of stuff that you're trying to say in one bullet. It comes out to be a powerful bullet, but the more stuff you say, the less effective each piece is. So maybe you could figure out like what am I trying to say there? Do I want to make the focus there on the fact that I developed a strategy and led the execution, and then there was a result, or am I trying to say that it was the cross-functional collaboration here that I want to demonstrate? Maybe if it turns out that it's the former, then you can demonstrate the cross-functional collaboration in a follow-up bullet. So you could just I can also see just right away that all of these bullets are double lines, and we want to see a combination of like single lines and double lines just to make sure that again we're being as concise as possible. So let's keep looking. Overall, by the way, that's not bad. I really like it. You got metrics, you got stuff that you did, but it's just maybe a little bit too much and dilutes your point. Prioritize high impact defect. A high impact defect. What do you mean you prioritize high impact defect? You mean prioritize removing high impact defects?
Basically, yeah, fixing the defects that has a blocker for external clients. And
okay, you might want to reword that because basically right now it reads as if you prioritize this high impact defect, but you didn't prioritize to fix it. You just sort of said, here's a high impact defect. So, but I know that there's more here again, right? Like led end-to-end development through agile. So again, you're saying a lot of stuff. You're saying that not only did you lead end-to-end development, but it was also agile. Maybe agile could be worked into this sentence. Maybe it could go in a separate sentence. Don't try to put too much into each point. Make sure you just deliver the skill set or the quality that you're trying to demonstrate the most.
Okay.
Resulting in on-time delivery of the fixes, resulted successfully launching 20 clients who were blocked by the fix. Yeah, we got to figure out a different way to say that because I think I like that. Again, the impact is good, and I think it's great that you were able to onboard 20 more clients and you prioritize the important stuff. Like it shows a lot of good stuff, but I think we need to unwind that a little bit and just get specific. Your prioritization, by the way, with these type of things. It might be helpful to actually say why they were blocked by this defect, but presumably, let's just call them bugs, just so that we can just keep it simple language.
Okay, so we're able to name them just bugs, and
yeah, bugs are fine. Bugs are totally fine. Yeah. Launched a product features oriented on supported. A product feature oriented on supporting additional member segments, resulting in engagement of 7,000 members. Supporting additional member segments. So, I mean, you're basically saying, yeah, you expanded the user base, and now different types of user segments could use the product.
Yeah. Basically, we have expanded. There's a segment of members who are supporting called COBRA members. Basically, members who are terminated from employment, but they're kept on the.
Gotcha. Okay, no, I think that's you obviously expanding the user base, expanding the availability of the product is effective. I wonder though, the 7,000 members, if you can put it in perspective, is it a big, maybe a percentage would be better there? And also just change the wording around again, launched a product feature oriented on supporting additional member segments. It's sort of like expanded. I would want to know how, right? As someone reading it, I don't know that I would necessarily basically be interested in a bullet that says you expanded the user base. Like that's effectively what it reads to me. It's like you expanded the user base by 7,000. Maybe if you make it a percent, like you expanded the user base by 15%. Okay, but how? What was the insight? What was the feature? Maybe just a little bit of information about it. And then maybe a little bit about the fact that you led the ideation or you led end-to-end development. Like that might be a situation where you put in your cross-functional aspects that we're talking about.
So I've tried just not to make it, a wording issue, like putting like Cobra stuff and develop it like a Cobra support member, which could be like weird. Because like not everybody knows the wording there. So
sure, of course. Figure out a way to tell me the essence of how you added this new segment. What was the insight? Either tell me the insight, or if you can't find out a good way to tell me actually what happened or what was the main way that you were able to build the user base, you can build in some of the stuff that we were talking about from earlier, some of the stuff that you're going to remove from the top bullets, like the cross-functional collaboration or your prioritization skills or whatever's left, and then put it in there so that at least you're combining it there. But ideally, I feel like the impact there is strong, especially if it translates to something like whatever double-digit percentage points of new users. And I think it's a good opportunity to say that, like, look, you're bringing in more user base. So now more different types of users can use. Like you're segmenting you're expanding the possibilities for the product. And what you want to demonstrate there is that as a product manager, you're seeing the opportunities, you're prioritizing the ones that have potentially a high impact, and obviously anything at the top of the funnel where you have more users coming in is usually going to be useful in most situations. Also, just comment here, you got collaborated multiple times, and especially one after the other. In general, I recommend not repeating words almost at all in the resume, especially your strong action verbs that you're starting out from. Make sure you're looking through them and you use a variety of different things, different verbs that showcase different aspects of a product manager's key traits. So certainly collaboration is one of them, launching, executing, leading, all of that stuff, but try not to use words multiple times.
Okay.
Collaborative product teams deliver quick launch feature that provided easy, fast access to telemedicine consultation for members during COVID pandemic. More details available here. Okay, that's great. I also like that. That's for those situations when that resume is printed out, you're not going to be able to provide details with a hyperlink. But obviously, most of the time, resumes are reviewed online, so that's actually pretty effective. I wonder why I guess I don't see links too often in resumes. That's actually pretty interesting. I would shorten that phrase. Just figure out a way to say that faster. For instance, the fact that it's quick launch doesn't really tell me anything. I don't necessarily need to know what it's called. I do need to know what it does in a lot of situations, and I think you're telling me that it gives me fast access to telemedicine. It would be also good to know in this situation, what is the impact? Like, did users actually adopt this feature? Was it helpful? I know it came out during the pandemic. Was it helpful during the pandemic for a certain subset of users? Did it increase engagement? Did it increase any other metrics that were important for the company or the product? I think those would be good opportunities to showcase that.
Okay. Definitely, it hits a lot of metrics, so I can put some stuff around.
Good. Let's keep going. Collaborated with the data team, build and launch dashboard, provides transparency of product metrics for the implementation department. No need to capitalize implementation department. I guess in this situation you could, because it's the department of implementation, but also I've never heard of a department of implementation. I don't exactly know what that means. Is it the production team? Like, I don't know. It's a little confusing. And then again, like, let's like unpack this. So you worked with a data team, you created a dashboard. This dashboard allowed us to see product metrics, which resulted in the plan for what we're doing with the company and the product being updated. I mean, there's things being demonstrated there, but for instance, thank you. For instance, actually updating your product roadmap would be something that a product manager often does and should do. And so if you were able to leverage that data and then actually influence that roadmap, I guess that's what you're trying to say. It's not coming off as clearly, because maybe again you're saying multiple things. It's like you collaborated with a team, you worked with data, you created the dashboard provided transparency. It's like a little bit of a long journey. Let's get more specific and more succinct. So for instance, what might we say here? That you uncovered additional insights, or you revealed important metrics about the product that were effectively previously unseen or previously misunderstood, or something actually happened to that effect, right? Like those metrics were not seen before, right? Or like you augmented them somehow. That's the idea behind this bullet, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we want to show like, performed analysis or rework the dashboards with the data team in order to reveal. But it would be good to know like what metrics you revealed that impacted the roadmap. Was it that customers were churning at a certain critical point, that they had problems onboarding, or that there were technical issues? Like what exactly did it reveal, or what was the key takeaway that it revealed that you can share here? And then you can say, I dug into the data, I found this insight, and we changed the roadmap as a result. That becomes a little bit more powerful.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Continuing to the last one here, released a set of features which partially automated the manual work performed by implementation specialists. Good. The result in 30% increased work capacity, additional 10 client integrations a month versus 35 integrations. Yeah, I think you can just simplify that. I think that's just a good way to demonstrate impact. And I think you're doing a good job there. Just make it a little bit shorter. And again, like you've got like a long thread. You released features. They automated it. They automated what? The work that was performed. This resulted in something, and additional something. You just make it, simplify it. You could use percentages there, for instance. Save 30%. What was it? Manual work performed. So automated the work. So it released a set of features that automated the work, resulting in 30% savings in costs and additional X% integrations, client onboarding integrations, or something like that. That should fit in one line.
Okay.
That's good. By the way, I would bump that up higher, because that's solid. Like you're releasing features that specifically impact onboarding, specifically impact your savings, your automation. It's all good stuff.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty good. You got some stuff there. I think you can put together into. You also don't need as many bullets. You don't just stuff it with bullets. Just make sure you're demonstrating important stuff, and different types of things. You don't want to always be demonstrating similar type of things. Like just make sure you demonstrate you work with a team, you think of features that are important, you prioritize them, you execute them, and you did that in a few places here. So just pick the most important stuff here and keep it up top. Let's go a little bit. Scroll down a little bit. We'll take a look at what's going on there. I like it. So you have less bullets now. They become more concise. That makes sense. Implementation team lead, product analyst. Product analyst also is a good role to have sort of before product manager. It's like an easier transition. So I think it makes a lot of just intuitive sense to go product analyst, product manager. Great. You're demonstrating your skills in building a team, retaining a team, coaching. It's very important for any product manager. One of the most important things. Hired, coached, led a team of 10 plus, resulting in forming a brilliant team, hitting team. Okay, so first of all, you said the word team 3 times. You should say 1 time. Second of all, it's cyclical because you hired a great team, resulting in a great team. But let's get more specific there. I know. I think it's a good start. You're demonstrating you built a great team. You know what would tell me that you built a great team? If they delivered great stuff, if they were very happy, if they and maybe if they were able to work faster, if they onboarded faster, just some metrics here, or like a distinction, something. You got to pull that out because like if you're demonstrating the point that you're building great teams, you're a great leader, and you can increase the morale and make folks enjoy working together and become more productive, which is kind of the point of a leader in business, then you got to figure out a way to say that metric.
Yeah, got it.
And I'll definitely leave you to ponder that, but I think that's strong. That's what you want to say. Increased integration accuracy from 20 errors to 2 by 90%. I think 90% is fine there. You don't need to spell out that's at 90. That's 20 to 2. Using lean product management methodologies. Increased integration accuracy. What does integration accuracy mean?
Basically the quality with which we're integrating clients.
Okay. So onboarding, like your onboarding clients. Yeah. I think onboarding is more, just more widely used, and so would be understood a little bit better, I think. But also onboarding accuracy doesn't necessarily make sense. It's sort of like, did you mean that during onboarding there's usually 20 errors, you got that down to 2, and so that's not a typical onboarding situation. Maybe in an enterprise it would be onboarding. You could say reduced onboarding error rate by 90%, resulting in. So this would be a good idea of like, okay, so you've as a result of reducing error rate, did you increase the ultimate adoption or like the ultimate successful onboarding, or is it just like reducing the time to onboard, or what was the impact of this error reduction?
It was a combination actually of the timing of the client satisfaction, because a lot of them, like especially enterprise clients, when we're seeing a lot of errors, just saying like stop there. So it definitely increased the satisfaction of service and improved the timing of the launch. So we had successful on-time launch for enterprise clients were sufficient.
Okay. It would be great to maybe demonstrate that. So the fact that you use lean project management methodologies doesn't matter so much. If you don't say it anywhere else, I guess you could say it here, but ideally you'd find a better place for it. Like, just demonstrate to me that you can work in an agile environment. By the way, there are other environments other than agile in software today. I mean, certainly everybody is very influenced by agile, and as they should be. It makes a lot of sense, but there's certainly a lot of environments which are less than agile, or agile, like traditional agile as you can imagine it, or so there's nothing wrong with knowing multiple styles. Even sometimes thorough like waterfall methodologies is good to have experience with, because sometimes like the big enterprise clients, they have trouble with agile, and certainly in anything other than software, as you get into physical products, it's difficult to obviously leverage agile there. So as long as you have it somewhere there that you either worked with agile or sprints, or even you can mention it down in your skills that you're familiar with agile methodology, that would preclude you from having to put it into the actual line items.
Got it.
Organized and managed teams work, resulting in launching 200 clients per month during the peak season versus 30 clients per month. Okay, so yeah, I think percentages are still going to be better here. I think you can certainly say 200 versus 30 a month. I also don't know whether peak season is more than 30, because you mentioned peak and then you also said regularly 30. Does that mean that regular is 30, peak is 150, and you got it to 200? Or does that mean peak regular is 30 and you got it to 200? Just a little bit confusing.
Yeah, basically what I meant here, I guess I was struggling a little bit in putting this together. So basically we were doing like 30 clients a month, but we had to do beyond the sales. So basically the sales launched 200 clients and we had only 1 month to integrate it, which like we needed to meet our business needs before doing clients timely. So
Okay.
what I did there, basically what I'm trying to say is by the day-to-day management and different methodologies, we basically hit that QR and basically hit those 200 clients.
I think it's good, but it would be great. It's a good opportunity to actually tell me what you did. If it was the fact that you're using lean methodology and you're running these two, biweekly prioritization meetings, you could just say that. Like, what was it that actually led to this pretty serious jump in onboarding or in launching new clients, however you want to say it? But just think about what that is. And if it is you just orchestrating those lean prioritization meetings, you could just say that. Like, can you tell me the insight or two at the most that led to you being able to hit these numbers? And ideally it would be something that is actually product manager quality, like a top product manager quality. I have a separate video talking about like the top product management qualities there are, and the ones that I like to see in a resume. Check out those videos and make sure that you're demonstrating those traits in your resume bullets.
Okay.
All right, but otherwise, I like it. Created PRDs, wireframes, and collaborative development team release product features, boost the team's productivity by 25%. A little bit weak. I don't mind to say stuff like created PRDs, wireframes, and all this stuff because that is a job of product manager. It does come up, but it's a little bit strange to tie that with a metric like productivity, because productivity is a very subjective metric. I don't know how you measure productivity, and the way this stuff, like, let me walk you through my thinking here. The resume is used to get you to the next stage, right, to the conversation. So it's going to be the recruiter or hiring manager that looks at your resume. Of course, it could also be the automated system, but assuming you pass that, eventually some human will look at your resume and then they will decide whether to call you out or not. So making a statement like you boosted the team's productivity by 25%, that may be okay, but it's not specific enough where an experienced product manager might immediately look at that and think that sounds suspect. Like, here's what that could sound to me like. If you're saying you boosted the team's productivity by 25%, you either are unclear yourself about what you're measuring when you're saying productivity, because productivity could mean so many different things. So now I think, wait a minute, does this candidate actually, like, they think that they increase productivity by 25%, but what if what they're measuring is productivity is like, I don't know, hours worked or something like that, which is to me not effective. But I don't know what you meant by productivity, but an experienced product manager might look at that and say, wait a minute, that's pretty wishy-washy. I don't know, like, I'm afraid that when it comes time to like build products, this person would not be able to set very quantifiable and proper metrics for the products. I know it's a minor point. It's the very end of your resume. And ultimately, maybe a majority of people that would look at resume, they say, wow, 25% boost in productivity. Great job. That's awesome. But if you're an experienced product manager, you start to look at these metrics and you start to think, wait. See if you can get more specific. Like, what was that productivity boost?
Basically, it was the successful onboarding for new clients that hit faster within the same resources.
Okay, so utilize the same resources, but onboarded more clients. So you're able to onboard or integrate or whatever more clients per week, per month, or per whatever unit of time. I would say that's better. I know it doesn't quite link up with creative PRDs, wireframes, and collaboration development team. But again, that's because I think there might be a little bit of a logical flaw there, because the PRDs and wireframes, I don't exactly understand how that led to you being able to onboard more customers as a product team or a company. So two takeaways again. Let's get more specific, and especially when we're listing metrics, let's make sure they're unambiguous.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But overall, I like that you have a lot of numbers, a lot of metrics, and you are demonstrating skills of product manager. And so probably, depending for which position I would be looking for, I would probably, seeing this resume, give you a call just to discuss. So it's already looks pretty good. But of course, I think all those improvements that we talked about will help boost your response rate.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex, for that. I will definitely improve it.
Excellent. Yeah, so I think that's it. I also see we have a few more people waiting in staging area. Sorry, folks. I thought we just had a few folks, so I thought we'd go a little bit more in depth. So, Alex, hopefully you enjoyed that and found that useful. Do you have any other questions before we let you go?
No, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your feedback. It's very helpful, and I will improve it. I can work on it.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Pleasure speaking with you today. Thanks, Alex. All right, folks. Just wanted to say hello. Also, Rashna, it's good to see you as well. Thank you very much for coming. Parham, yeah, it looks like you figured out how to get in the queue, so it's good. We're going to try to, I see we do have more than we had at the very beginning, so we're going to try to go a little bit faster because I do want to probably end the stream a little bit earlier today because it's been a tough week out here in California, if you guys know what I'm talking about. All right, so Amit, let me bring you on if you're ready to go. Give me a thumbs up. Amit, all right, sweet, let's do it. But of course, before we do that, before we bring Amit on, I'm going to hit this thing right here and ask you guys to gently tap the like button, if you could, for me, just to make sure that we're spreading the word for folks that want to get into product management or just want to chat with me or have their resumes reviewed, because I will be doing this probably a few more Saturdays until I run out of energy or until another horrible thing happens in California. All right, Amit, let me bring you on here. Amit, how are you?
Hey, Alex, I'm doing good. Thank
Excellent.
you for doing this.
Oh, yeah. It's my pleasure. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for joining us. Amit, tell us a few words about you and what you're looking for.
So I'm currently doing my MBA at the University of Notre Dame. I'm into the second year of my program. Prior to the MBA, I have 7 years of work experience developing software applications for aircrafts. And post MBA, I want to break into product management in a software company. And over the summer, I interned as a product manager with a growth stage startup in California. And I missed a couple of those earlier sessions because I had finals.
Gotcha. All right. That's awesome. That's great. That's great that you've got development experience. You're not in California anymore right now, huh?
I wasn't in California even during the summer. It was a remote, but
of course it was. Yeah, right. I forgot the world we're living in nowadays. Yeah, it's fine. It's not a good place to be right now anyway. So
staying safe these days.
Thank you. Okay, so Amit, maybe share your resume. We'll take a look. I'm very interested to see how you talk about your past experience. I think it's awesome that you got development experience and you got some startup experience, sounds like. And yeah, very interested to see how you phrased it all.
Okay, sure. I'll share my screen.
Karina, I see you're also in California, enjoying the air quality.
Can you see my screen?
Just a second, Amit. It did not load up yet.
I guess I'm opening StreamYard for the first time, and it's asking me to
share all the permissions. Give it all the permissions you can. Yeah, it does that. But we used to be with a different stream provider, and they were even worse. I mean, StreamYard seems to be working pretty good for the most part, and I don't really see any audio video quality problems, and folks have been able to share their screen pretty well. While you're trying to get that done, Amit, let me ask Abhishek if Abhishek, are you available to get back in here? Do you get your camera working and give me a thumbs up? Because you're next in line. And Parham, to answer your question, yeah, it goes from left to right in my staging area. because I assume that's how people actually logged on. So hopefully we'll get to you in just a moment. Amit, we'll give you a moment.
I guess I will need to quit the Chrome and then
Yeah, well, I'll take you back once you come back.
Okay, sure.
All right. Thanks, Amit. Thanks very much. Okay. Also, Anna, if you're available, turn your video on and give me a thumbs up. Otherwise, we're gonna move to Parham. Oh, Anna. Okay, I see you. Great. Thank you very much. And make sure to unmute yourself. Hello, Anna.
Hi, Alex. Thank you so much. I was just like wondering why my comments aren't showing up. Why is Alex not looking at my,
No, I see. Thanks very much. Thanks for joining us. I'm very happy you're here. Let me know, please, again, share a few words about your background and what you're looking for.
All right. So I'm currently an second year MIS grad student. I'm at Oklahoma State University. And before coming here, I actually joined with you and Tim on another session that you were hosting on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
That was my first interaction with you.
Great.
That was a great session, by the way. And I think you guys were doing it again. So,
yeah. So we just did another one, and it was also a lot of fun. You probably if you're talking about the first one, it was like May or something like that, June, early summer at some point.
Quite possible. I think that's the one I'm talking about. I'm not really sure though.
Yeah. Thanks for joining again. No, we definitely do that with Tim and John as often as we can. I think those are a lot of fun. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so a little bit about me. So like I was saying, before coming here, I worked for 6 years in India. So I donned the product manager hat, I donned the business consultant hat, dabbled with a lot of things. So got quite the wordy resume. I've tried to quantify it as much as I can. I've tried to kind of make it a little bit, easier for the recruiter to read, but somehow
Good.
I'm not able to kind of move to the next step. Though
Okay.
I'm pretty confident about my skill sets. I'm pretty confident about what I can do and what I can do, but somehow I'm not able to make that impact.
Okay. So let's so you can go ahead and share your screen so we can actually take a look at your resume. But while you do that, let me ask you this question. You mentioned that you are. I assume you mean that you're not getting the callbacks that you would like to get. So can you give me an idea of like the stats? Like if you've sent out, 20, 30, 40, 50 resumes and you don't have a callback, or is it like you sent out 10 or 15?
So this has been going on, from the time I started applying to internships.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say at least about like 70 to 80.
Okay, so that's a good number.
Applications just for product management. I don't want to get into the other things right now.
That's fine. No, product management today, that's the topic of the day. I think that if you send out 70 or 80, then that's already a good enough number where you can actually look at your response rate and see, okay, is it good? Is it bad? Where it's at. So if you're not getting too many, I would say, this question is like, what's a good response rate? It's tough to say good response rate, but I would imagine 5 to 15% probably. If you are applying to the right targeted list of jobs that do have a great match with you, then I think you should hear back 5, 15%. I'm sure people will be on different places in that range, but so you did enough where you should have already heard back. And so let's take a look. And
you're able to see my.
Yep, I see it. Okay. Let me now look at it.
So I did try adapting to the template a little bit.
It looks good. It looks clean. Let me take a look. Yeah. So you do have a summary. That's fine. Lately, I've been seeing folks that have been adding those 2 lines and like a sentence, and I've been a lot more lenient about those missions in the top.
I originally had 3 bullet points there
at the top. Okay. Mm-hmm.
But I felt that I was not able to probably create the impact that I usually that I intend to create. So I kind of switched back to this having
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a combined something.
Let me ask you this. So, and actually, before we start reading this, have you looked at this from the perspective of a hiring manager? If you were looking to hire a product manager and you got this resume, have you ever said that? Have you ever tried it like that?
As a hiring manager, if I were looking at my resume, I would be a little biased.
That's true. That's fair. That's fair. But like, I feel like this is important for folks to do. Is sometimes we get too much into, like, from our perspective, exactly what you said. You'd be a little biased, but what you want to do is, like, you want to just take it as a completely objective person, and not necessarily objective, but at least completely independent person that is just looks at your resume, just another resume. And the reason why I'm so critical of those mission blurbs and summaries at the top is because I guess I will skim through it if it's very short, but if it's long, I might just skip it, not even read it at all, and just go to experience. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody skips it, certainly, but at least we can say, at least I skip it. So some people do skip it. And of course, if you catch my eye within like the first word or sentence, maybe I won't. But usually, and I still have not read. That's right. I can look at a page and not read actively. So I still haven't read it. So we'll see if you've got in there, sort of marketing words like, all about the user, like user-centered, passionate, right? Especially when you're talking about analytical, technical, and metrics-based roles like product management, we don't really have too much room for fluff. It's not necessarily, the resume is not the place to necessarily demonstrate these subjective qualities, not necessarily. So let's take a look at that. There's a big intro, but for other folks that may be watching now or later that are thinking, should I do a summary? Should I not do a summary? Do a summary if it's extremely effective at drawing attention, which is the whole point of your resume.
Okay. And also, to answer your question, I did have the career services in my university take a look at it.
Okay. Okay.
And I originally had like a 2.5 pages resume.
Okay. All right. So they cut that down for you.
No, I think, kind of a little bit.
Yeah. All right, cool. So let's take a look. Yeah, I think 2.5, especially the rule of thumb is like 10 years experience per page, but I would even say like 10, 12 years is fine on one page. It's all about the impact for product management, at least. Okay, highly motivated, data-driven, problem-solving individual with 6 years experience in road mapping, customer analysis, data analytics, digital marketing, program data visualization, KPI dashboard management. Yep. So I don't know. What you told me was that you like to problem solve, and you do have some experience with customer analysis, data, and you're motivated. But what I'd like to see is those very same things, but demonstrated. So how can you show me that you're motivated? By getting things done. How can you tell me that you're data driven? By working with data and accomplishing something with it. A big proponent of that. Now, sometimes, so that's why 9 out of 10 times it's like I wouldn't have anything in there. Just get to the experience and then hook me with your experience. Maybe say the same things, but as a line item that shows how you leverage those skills, because it's about how you leverage those skills and qualities and how effective you can be as a product manager. So now, I did get that there's 6 years of experience, and I probably would kind of glance at that first, but I don't know if it's worth it, because that's your big entrance. Like you got 8 to 10 seconds for the whole thing. You got 2-3 seconds to really get my attention, and you don't want to spend a few of those seconds on stuff that doesn't necessarily add to the picture. That's my stance on the summary at the top. I know you've cut it down, but it still is not necessarily doing much to actually to capture my attention. So now let's keep going. I do like I said, the presentation looks great. There's plenty of open space. It's nice. It's concise. It's consistent. And it's single point bullets. There's nothing intimidating about it. As someone who's reading it, I can get right into it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So another kind of thing that I had in my resume that I'm kind of dabbling with is the first item that I've listed, the CIE practicum. This is actually a scholarship class for us, and we are kind of launching a lean startup on this.
That's
Through this,
awesome.
yeah. So the problem that I'm having here is the rest of my resume is quantified, but for this, I actually don't have enough metrics to quantify. So it's all it's a bunch of words, buzzwords, really, honestly.
Buzzwords. I love to see buzzwords. Yeah, that's that's powerful. But you've got
Yeah.
look, startups. Certainly, you want to get it to a point where you're interacting with any kind of customers and there's any kind of metrics. So you want to get that as soon as possible to that point. But if you don't, that's okay, because at least you're telling me you're trying a startup. You're trying to build something. You're trying to organize something. I'll take it. Maybe don't lead with it because it sounds like you don't have metrics for that. But maybe have it right underneath, because if this is so, is this the startup right here, the product analyst? That's
yeah,
the
the
one.
prep. Yeah.
So let's take a look at it. Let's see if it's effective at capturing my attention. If not, we could actually, I was going to say, like, you could make it a second bullet, but then you'd need the first bullet to also be something to present, because like you usually go, reverse chronological order. And remind me, you are in school now?
I'm in school now. Yes, I'm hoping to graduate by the end of this year. That's the dream.
So then why don't we look at that? And I want to see just what that looks like, because we could actually put that on top if it's very short. That way you could have that on top. Then, well, I was trying to organize it where like you'd actually get to the metrics faster. Why don't we see what we're working with first, and then we'll see how we can rework it if need be.
Yeah.
All right, so let's check out your buzzwords here. Identified new market segments through market research advertising. Okay, yeah, you're right. That's not very specific. Nothing for me to take away there. Collected data points requires. Yeah, you deliver exactly what you promised there. I don't know whether that is helpful, because yes, the first and the second thing are qualities and activities the product manager should and do actually partake in. But you're right, it falls flat because, well, it didn't lead to anything, or I don't know what it led to. Develop marketing strategies, unit value propositions to customer. Yep, again, it's the beginning of something, but there's no end. Gap and trend analysis. Gap and trend is okay, but again, we don't know why and what effect it had. Yeah. So I think maybe, what is the point you're trying to make there? I think the main point to me is that you're doing a startup. You're trying to build a thing. Maybe I just say that in one line. What's the thing you're trying to do? Why is this? Why are you doing this? Why is it interesting? Maybe a little bit about your proxy efforts, because sometimes when we do a startup, for instance, ideally if we just right away like jump in and start delivering to customers, but maybe sometimes we can't do that, or maybe like we're interviewing customers just to figure out what they really want. Or maybe we are building the product, like a very, very early product. Or maybe we're building a team to build that product, or pitching investors, something like that. Like, just be honest about it. I think it's great to demonstrate. In general, we want our product managers to be entrepreneurial and dive into these type of startup and organizational experiences. But this is doing a little bit of a disservice, because you basically, again, you're wasting valuable real estate. So let's try to maybe either put it in a separate category, but still I would not have those 5 lines there. Maybe a line or 2 of the most important proxy intermediate steps that you're taking in the startup, just to demonstrate the startup. By the way, it doesn't come across that it's a startup right now. That's
exactly. So should I just probably mention saying that something like currently working on launching a startup that and that does this, and these are the skill sets I'm using here.
Yep, definitely. Because I had no idea that it was a startup and that you are organizing it, or you're co-founding it, or whatever it is. So it might even be okay to just lead with that, because it's to the present. Like, I'm working on it now. This is the exciting problem I'm tackling now. I led a couple of co-founders, or I organized folks, or I'm doing it myself, whatever it is. Try a few different things. And then that'll prime me to think, okay, this person is a entrepreneur, or this person has entrepreneurial, tendencies, which is always good. Think about that. Now, business development manager, created revenue cycles. So this is March. So this is about a year, a little over a year. Created revenue cycles through market research, consumer competitor analysis, leading to 4% revenue increase. Okay, I don't know what revenue cycles are, though.
Technically, what I'm trying to say is that I've identified different channels through which we can source revenue in. That could be marketing campaigns. That could be survey activities, customer discovery activities. I've found new ways to pitch to customers, bring customers on board, sign a retention contract with us, a retainer contract with us.
Yeah, since I don't understand it, there's no way for me to understand what the company does. Revenue cycles, basically like new revenue opportunities, new sales opportunities. And I think that's what you're saying, right? You led to 4% increase. So you perform market research and competitor analysis would not lead to sales increase directly. There's got to be some in between steps there where you build stuff or change stuff, because you can't just look at a competitor and say, now we're going to sell more. You got to do something. And so when you talk to, even customer analysis doesn't lead to that also. Like, oh, it turns out, like, what happened? It turns out that they ignore this feature. And is it quantitative analysis, where actually look at the data, or qualitative? Maybe you ask them how they feel, what they want, what they don't want, and then what happened as a result of that. So I think you're close. I like the 4% revenue increase. It's very reasonable. I just said during the last resume review, I like reasonable numbers. That's great. 4% revenue increase. You did something meaningful. It led to a believable number. A lot of these things are extremely subjective, of course. But in general, I will be very, very suspect when I hear huge numbers, whether absolute or relative, from a relatively straightforward proposition. Like, you conducted some market research, led to 4%. I believe it. But tell me, what did this market research cause you to do? What did this consumer research cause you to do? And reward revenue cycles. Like, just tell me, added a new product line, expanded the product, whatever. Increased retention rate by 13% 1 year, super reasonable and admirable and excellent, right? 13% 1 year makes sense. But now, how did you do it? Digital marketing analysis to manage customer expectations? I don't know what that means. Okay. I don't know what that means. But now tell me, customer retention rate. So people stayed longer. Now this, by the way, I could understand this as it took you 1 year to lower retention by 13%, or I could understand that as you lowered or you increased the 1 year retention rate. Now, increasing 1 year retention rate by 13% is a Herculean and monumental effort. And it's truly, it's huge implications for the company, for any company. Because 1 year, the customer's with you for a year, and then you also make 13% of them. Just be specific about what you meant. Did you mean that you worked for a year and you managed to, over a course of a year, increase retention by 13%, like move the entire retention line up by 13%? Or did you mean as the 1 year retention? A little ambiguity there.
Okay. So the thing here is all of the companies that I've worked with, right, they're all startups. They're all like startups that launched recently or kind of growing startups. There wasn't a lot of process there. So a lot of the times, even though there was the potential and resources were available, but they never had a process which would kind of help them improve the productivity, that would help them get to where they want. So a lot of the times what I did was just tweak the process, set rules, set a business process on what needs to be done. This is the first step. This is the second step. Yeah. By doing that, I was actually able to improve, the numbers that I mentioned in my resume was by simply tweaking the process.
That's great. That's important. Product managers will add process wherever they go, or they should. And not to add bureaucracy, but add meaningful process. It sounds like that's exactly what you did. That's what product managers should do. But you could just say that. Added process, improved process, or tell me something so I can believe that you actually augmented these processes. Maybe if you say there's no processes, I believe it, because then you say added processes in order to what? Increased delivery velocity or reduced deficiency or a defect rate or bug rate or whatever that led to retention rate going up by 30%. Something so that I can believe in the story you're telling me. Let's keep going. Optimized internal business process. Okay, good. By reducing turnaround time, resulting 3% increase in revenue. And so, is this the same thing, or this is different? 3% or 4%? Oh, it's a different. It's a
different thing.
Different company. Okay. Good internal business process. Just tell me what it is if you can. Just put it in there. Don't, because internal business process could be a million things. It sounds like you reduced turnaround time. I want to know turnaround time for what?
Okay.
$2.5 million in profit. That's fantastic. 3%. Yeah, that's what kind of a company is it that 3% increase in revenue also improves profit by 2.5? But it could also be different things, right? Like you could improve the profitability, and you could improve the top line revenue. Like that's still very specific and very believable for me. I have it. So anyone that's been in business for some time, they will find that interesting. But there's nothing necessarily in there that makes me think that the numbers are not accurate or something like that. So that is interesting again, but I want to know, what business processes are you choosing to prioritize on? How are you making that decision so that I know whether I kind of agree that you're going after high impact stuff? Based on the results, you are, but now let's see, what are these business processes? And then also, anytime you're one word away from a single line, I definitely try to see how you can fit that in a single line. That's just my
I've tried, Alex. Believe me, I've tried. I've really tried. I just don't know how to do it.
No, that's okay. I hear you. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Most of the time you can figure it out, especially in this situation, you need to understand like what is this business process? It might come out shorter, it might come out longer. Digital transformation. That's definitely a buzzword. By managing SEO metrics such as traffic, but that actually is a buzzword that kind of makes sense here, because, well, if you've basically amped up the website, it sounds like then you've got organic conversion rates. What's missing here, of course, is a number. You might not have this number because you, for whatever reason, but it would be good to even get a proxy or something, because we want to understand those, volumes. If you impacted SEO and you got, usually SEO will give you more incoming submissions. It won't necessarily, it might impact your organic rates as well, like your conversion rates, but then, yeah, that requires basically a revamp usually of the site. So that's fine. And it is strong by the organic conversion rates. That matters, and I will pay attention to that.
Okay.
Business red flags. Predict feasibility success of a project based on a set of KPIs. Real 50% increase in revenue. I like it. That one again is like, what is employee productivity? We just talked about it with Alex in the last resume. It's like, what is employee productivity?
So I've added that as a comment there already.
Yeah, you already did. You heard the previous conversation. Yes. Same thing. Sophisticated dashboard using Scrum methodology track. You don't need to say that it's sophisticated. It's sophisticated or not. It doesn't matter. What matters is, was it used and to what effect? So design a dashboard, maybe a comprehensive dashboard where you're tracking and refining performance of business red flags. So that feels to me a little bit like it's kind of like part of the top line, where a part of your process is developing this dashboard, which is how you're able to increase that's a 50% increase in revenue. I think I missed that. That's a huge increase in revenue.
Okay, I will tell you that right away, because this was a company that had like only 7 people. They didn't know what to bring in and what not to bring in, and how to, optimize their efforts. So with 7 people and no revenue, then you bring some revenue in. It is a huge number. So
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So do I have to proxy that number, because I know for a fact that I have presentations that where I worked on the projection, so I have some data to show to that effect. But do I have
you
to
can
proxy
shade.
that number to make it look like a small number?
You can put a number in parentheses. You can. Usually, I think percentages are just fine. It probably won't make a big difference. But yeah, you could, if you want, you could just parentheses in there. But the employee productivity, though, you got to think about that one.
Yeah.
How are you going to measure that? And then the dashboard again. I don't know what exactly the dashboard added. Maybe the process came with the dashboard, or maybe the dashboard you did later for more impact. But as it reads right now, I don't really understand what the dashboard, how it's different from the line right above it. Okay, scope analysis, collecting data. Not enough specifics there. I think you already know. So just figure out how to. I think it's fine to do scope analysis and collecting data and all that, but figure out some way of showing what it led to, or at least, again, a proxy. User engagement, great. Monitor web traffic, page traffic on a job internship platform. Okay. User engagement by 17%, product effectiveness. So I don't know, did you increase the product effectiveness as well? You're saying you increased the engagement rate, but I don't know if you also increased the product effectiveness. Like, you might want to just remove that word. If you're already saying you increased the user engagement, that's already good. Just kind of, that's the fine tooth comb, is you're going through it and you're saying, okay, does this word or phrase actually say the thing that I'm trying to say? And does it add to the story? If I remove it, if nothing changes, then just remove it. Okay, it looks good. Overall, it looks pretty good. Like, I think maybe that, I don't know if you've been submitting it with that startup 5 lines at the top. That actually might be it, right? Because you're losing attention. You're basically saying, wait a minute, you got the summary in there. You got 5 lines that say nothing, basically. And so as a result of that, people might just be saying, you don't even get to the interesting stuff that you've got. You got plenty of interesting metrics. I think you're going to work on processes a lot. You focus on the bottom line, on results. I think that's pretty cool. So you want to demonstrate that, get to that as soon as possible. Start up, demonstrate the thing you're trying to demonstrate, which is that you are trying to start things and you have an entrepreneurial side and spirit to you. So I think you're very close. Just kind of rethink the approach, and I think you're going to see a big improvement in the numbers.
Thank you so much. I just have one last question. I'm sure other people are by now screaming their heads off, but just one last question.
Sure.
All my certifications and my Tableau link on the top, my LinkedIn, all of that is actually hyperlinked. Do I have to show that it is hyperlinked? Because I've always personally felt about having blue, text here and there and there. I just, somehow it ticks me off. I don't know why.
Sure.
But
can you make it blue?
I can. I mean, like, if I do the hyperlink, then it's going to the, so.
Yeah. So are you saying, like, is it okay that it's blue, or?
Yeah, I'm asking if it's okay to just leave it as a hyperlinked.
Of course it's okay. Yeah. That's great.
Okay.
I think that makes sense. Yeah. And again, the format is great. All that is great. Let's just get to the meat, to the metrics sooner. And I think it's going to be more powerful.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Keep me updated.
Thank you so much, Alex.
Definitely want to hear about your progress.
I will. I'm going to, is it okay if I kind of find you on LinkedIn and, take the conversation forward?
Of course. Yeah. Let me know how you're doing there.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care. All right, folks, that was actually a great example of a resume where there's plenty of impact, I think, but we had to get through some stuff to get to it. So hopefully that you found that useful. I know that I certainly see a lot of resumes that are similar to that, where if you just reorder some stuff, it actually becomes a lot more effective. All right, so folks, we're gonna move on to. I know we skipped Amit. He's at the back of the line, but we're gonna take him just a moment. Hopefully, Amit, you figured out how to share the screen. I know that this software can be sometimes clunky. Let me just get to some of these questions. Yes, I've got the Morning Brew mug for sure. Guilty as charged. They've hooked me on their newsletter. Unfortunately, that's right, person. And there's a question. Sasha asks, "What are your thoughts on 1-line bullet points versus 2 lines?" Yeah, I think in general, one line is better. Anytime shorter and more succinct is always better, because you just have more chances to, you sort of have more opportunities to get me to actually be hooked on your resume, because each line should have a powerful message you're trying to deliver. And if I can read 2 lines in the same time that I can read your bullet with 2 lines, that means I can get 2 messages in the time that I can get only 1 message with 2 lines. So you basically have 2 attempts to capture my attention. That's my thought about it. Oh, and Sasha also asks, I mentioned that it should be 3 bullet points per roll. Is here 5, 4, 6? Yeah, I think my general rule is the most recent job should have the most, and then kind of go down in quantity. But these are certainly not hard and fast rules. This is just something, just as a general rule, you kind of want to see more attention, because we all have a bit of a recency bias, and we want to know more about the stuff that you're doing recently, because it's supposed to be more impactful. Which, by the way, that's not necessarily, it's not necessarily even good from a hiring manager perspective, but that seems to be the way that things are done. And that's certainly the way that when we think about it in terms of a progression, we want to see a progression that you're taking on more scope, you're having more impact, and so therefore there's more story to tell. So that's how I think about it. Okay, Amit, let me add you back in here. Hello. We'll make sure to unmute yourself, and let's try to share the screen. Sorry for the delay. We had to.
No problem.
Thanks for your patience.
Hope I'm able to share now.
And meanwhile, of course, remember to hit the like button. Let me see. We got 14 likes. That's pretty good. I appreciate it. We got 12 people and 14 likes. I think that's fine.
Can you see my screen?
Let me see, Amit. Yep, I see it. So if you just put your resume over there, we will. Because right now you are. There it is. Okay.
Can
all
you
right.
see?
Excellent. Yes, I think we all can see it now. Let me begin. Okay, so we got education. You've got a lot of space that you're spending for your education. I don't know that necessarily makes sense. Obviously, strong education, strong results, fellowship recipient, president of technology club, great GPA. That's all great, but let's see what the story of the actual experience says. Also, it might be actually even more powerful. Let's see how it reads. Okay. Validated product vision, develop product roadmap, and outline long-term strategy to address 140 million market for property insurance claims, forecasting 35% market capture in 5 years. Okay. That's pretty good. So just start out very broad right away. You own the roadmap and you own the long-term strategy. Now, the fact that it's a $140 million market and the fact that you're forecasting 35% capture doesn't actually tell me anything about the state of your business or product. It's a little bit suspect. Like, are you starting out from zero? Okay. Or what's happening there? I want to know not about the opportunity necessarily. I want to know about what you actually did, what you built, what happened with the company and the product. Right. Okay. So opportunity is great, but it's also like, like an investment pitch, like the TAM is billions of dollars. Well, okay. How many customers do you have?
Right. Okay. Like Hover, as you see, it's a 3D modeling app. Basically, they work in 2 verticals. One is the exterior home improvement, and the other one is the insurance industry. So in the exterior home improvement, they have already done a lot, and now they're moving towards the insurance. And this is where I was working with the VP of product and the director of product management, and they had a product vision, which was to make Hover as one-stop shop for all the insurance claim processing. And for that, I validated their vision, developed a roadmap on the features which we have to be built in the next few years, and a 2-pronged strategy that we cannot compete with our competitor, because they had like around 70% of the market right now. So it was to add. The first strategy was to come and add to what they are giving, and then move over into the long-term strategy. So I even calculated this TAM with respect to that, and so right now they have like around 7% of market capture.
Okay. All right. So that's what I was trying to get to. So realistically, of course, you're not going to be able to say all that and like defend any of this, right? When people are reading.
Yeah.
So here's the problem with that is the only way to validate a product vision is via customer numbers, user numbers, or revenue. That's at the end of the day, that's the only way to truly validate a plan is if it's successful.
Right.
There's no other way to validate a plan. It's just like an experiment. Like it either works or it does not. And until it does, you basically can't say whether you validate or not. I understand the position of being an intern and having limited time to have an impact. But if the point you're trying to demonstrate there is that you're able to take all these various inputs, internal, external, market inputs, and then put together a long-term plan, and you don't necessarily have the proxy, but maybe you can say that this plan was initiated or approved or bought into or whatever, just say that. Because then that's the point you're making. Like, I can do this. This is not the bullet where it shows about how you built these big things, but it's a bullet where it shows how you put together a plan and got people excited and bought into it. So let's just demonstrate that, I think.
Okay. I guess that didn't come out, but that is what I wanted to,
That is what you want to demonstrate. Okay, great.
to demonstrate that I was successfully able to validate and then build up a plan which was accepted by the CEO and the VP of the product.
Perfect. There you go. Say that. That. That's your success metric. Okay. That it was accepted and they began, right? Like you were just there for a short time, so you can't be expected to actually launch this giant thing. Right. But it sounds like you got presented and accepted. Perfect. That's what you're demonstrating. Great. But right now it doesn't come across that way, right, at all. Right now, I don't know. Basically, as it reads, I don't know what you have now. I don't know what's going to happen. Basically, I don't know what you're saying with this. But now that we've redone it, if you redo it like that, I think it will be much more powerful. But let's go to the left. You can do it later on because I can only see it like that. I think it's time to also switch to Google Docs. Like I don't know if, I guess maybe you guys can tell me. I see like this word used every now and then. I don't get it.
I use Google. I have used Google Doc in my past organization. We had a Gmail account, and even in my university, we collaborate everything to Google Docs. And
But Microsoft's a big company, so they must have figured this part out somehow. Okay, created 4 different personas for targeted enhancement features by conducting a lot of stakeholder interviews and surveys to identify user needs and pain points. So the insurance claim. Okay, great. 4 different personas. So like the main thing you're saying is you created these 4 different personas, but I think the main thing you're saying there is you can do customer research and UXR basically, which there's no way for you to really prove that you can take the right takeaways from those conversations again, because if the result is that you created 4 different personas, I would only find that effective if that increased sales or adoption or engagement or something. If it did not, or if there's no proxy metrics that shows that, then you're basically, you're telling me that you were able to have different conversations with lots of different people, which is not inconsequential, but I don't think it's the point you're trying to demonstrate. So I think it's fine to show that you're able to think holistically about the product and the user needs in order to conduct UXR. And I think that's fine. That's what you're trying to say there. That's okay. If these 4 different personas actually led to something, then you can say that.
Yes, my whole intention was.
That's okay, Amit. We're trying to get through all of it, so you just have to take this notes for now, and then we'll keep going. Because I realized that I wanted to have a shorter session today, but actually I'm going much more in depth, so I apologize. But yeah, let's keep getting through this. Develop synergies with UX and engineering teams to add virtual claim processes by running design sprints, prioritizing backlog items, unlocking 24 million incremental revenue opportunity. Great. I like the unlock 24 million incremental. You probably didn't expect me to say great after that, because that's a long sentence. And generally, I don't like long sentences. And generally, you've got 2-line bullets, and here you have no single-line bullets, which makes it a little denser and harder to get through. So you want to think if you can make it at least a few pieces in there that are single bullets or single-line bullets. Synergies and virtual chain processing feature, I don't know exactly what that means. And you telling me I did 5 things and it unlocked 24 million incremental revenue. Again, I don't know whether you captured the opportunity and how is it incremental and why it's incremental. So it's all a little bit shaky. It's like the foundation is not quite solid. Like you telling me a lot of stuff. I don't know if I can believe it exactly, or I don't know what exactly is the takeaway I'm supposed to gain from that.
Okay.
So I would say with that one, if you want to tell me about this feature, you want to tell me how you prioritize the feature, or you came up with a feature, or you led the creation of that feature, then tell me about that. If you want to just say, out of all these features, this is the one that has the most incremental revenue because this is how I thought about incrementality, that's also interesting. But I think all these things together, they become a little bit obtuse. Enabled sales team to increase product adoption by 80%. Okay, you got me hooked. By what? By identifying the UVP of on-site claim settlement through competitive benchmarking conducted. Wow, that's a run-on sentence, Amit.
Okay.
You finish your thought, you put another thought at the end of it. Tell me how you led to 80% increase in product adoption. That's pretty exciting. If you actually know how you did it, then just tell me with one thing. This is how I led the increase in product adoption. If you don't know, then maybe you're trying to tell me a different story. You're trying to tell me about all this stuff where you worked with competitive analysis, market research, and analysis again. But you've told me these stories before. So I question why you tell me again. Maybe here you're trying to tell me, yeah, you led in your short time there, you were able to move the needle. Then just tell me how you did it. Or again, a proxy to get there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
All right, sweet. I think, 4 powerful bullets for an intern position is tough to do, honestly.
Okay.
So just get to the meat of it. Tell me the story you want to tell me. Tell it as concisely as you can, and it'll be a lot more, just increase the rate of, I think, return or response for you.
Okay.
All right, aerospace, Collins Aerospace. Okay, so we've got software engineers. I think that's powerful experience. We want to highlight it. So you led a big team. Oh, great. To build aircraft cockpit software. My goodness. Wow. Okay. Define requires accomplishing on-time release of $10 million projects. Okay. So you already impressed me by building aircraft cockpit software. You don't also need to impress me in the same line with $10 million projects. Like, I get it. They're airplanes. They can't be inexpensive. So choose which one of those things you want to focus on and go hard on that. Maybe tell me about the 10 million somewhere else, because obviously you want to drop those big numbers. I think that's important. But here I'm bought into you being a leader of a cross-functional team. Now, ideally, maybe you could say to build aircraft cockpit software, $10 million aircraft cockpit software.
Okay.
Or like 10 million per year, or 10 million per customer, or whatever. 10 million ARR, something like that. This is not necessarily the same place to tell me that you navigated interdependencies, which, by the way, is a sort of a non sequitur, because it doesn't matter that you navigated interdependencies. Did that result in increased metrics? Then yes. If yes, then tell me what interdependencies exactly did you navigate? Basically, it's the same thing that I always say. If you can remove that piece and the sentence still reads the same and the story is the same, then just remove it.
Okay.
So, and generally, folks, everyone's watching. We're all kind of doing the same thing. We're trying to tell too many stories at the same time, and because of that, we get confused. We can't follow the story. So just tell one story per bullet. If it doesn't land, that's okay, because at least you told it very quickly, so you can now move on to the next story.
Okay.
Let's keep going. Lean product design concept, iterated software features, continuous delivery, sprints, optimize development lifecycle time by 20%, saving 500,000 quarterly costs. Okay, so I guess you implemented agile methodology, continuous delivery, and managed to save $2 million a year. That's pretty great. Maybe tell it to me faster.
Okay.
Because I think that's the point you're making there. Look, I developed, or I introduced continuous delivery.
Right.
save this much because we're now reacting faster. I get it. It makes sense in this situation. Now, I do wonder what it means to have continuous delivery for aircraft cockpit software, because you might be delivering it continuously, but
So it was basically a scaled agile framework, and like 4 to 5 teams were working together, and that was when I was talking about the navigating. But coming to this, we had like as a product owner, we had a set of features which were supposed to be developed, and initially when it was being developed, it wasn't being it was we were not doing a short of a prototype in the beginning. We were just going head on with the engineering team and developing it. But after we had when I launched the lean product design, which is talk with the customers at hand first. For us, the customers were obviously not the final customers, but were the internal customers, the platform team members.
Right.
Understand what the requirements are, develop a small code, just show that functionality is working, to get a buy-in from them, and then start developing the features and keep on reiterating in the continuous sprints. So that really gave value to our team, and at the same time, when we were able to at least prove that this functionality is working, the other scaled agile teams which were working with me were able to use that functionality to build their own features as well.
Okay, so that's how you're saying that led to savings.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. But again, let's figure out a way to say it quicker. Epic's user stories for business requirements and project scope by collaborating across regional teams, reducing average software defects. Okay, so basically I'm not sure how prioritization would reduce the average software bug by 10%. Like, I suppose I don't really see the connection between prioritizing features and managing the backlog with reducing the software defect down. That's more like changing processes of how you work would potentially change the defect rate, but prioritizing features would likely get an increase in metrics like adoption or revenue or saving in costs or something like that. So that I don't see the mental link there. Now, most of the time when people are going to be scanning the resume, they're not going to be looking that deeply about it. Okay. But you want to have some sort of logical link. More. So now this software consultant program manager. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I think that's very relevant. Also, the product manager story. Secured partnership with 3 sectors while leading a team to deliver end-to-end solution for defense clients, diversify product portfolio offerings by 100%. Again, I think all of those are fine, but you just said multiple things in one bullet. Figure out a way to maybe separate that out. Find the key point that you want to say. Executed technical due diligence and designed graphical UI prototype to monitor health of missiles. Oh my goodness. Wow. You worked on planes and missiles. I mean, that's pretty serious stuff there, Amit. Mass production. Oh my goodness. You led to mass production of missiles. I don't know. That's certainly impressive. A little bit terrifying. I'm going to be honest with you.
So like this mass production was not done by the startup which I was working on. We developed a prototype. We presented it to the Indian Department of Defense, and they accepted that prototype, but this was supposed to be built for thousands of Arab 400 and 500 of missiles, which we did not have the capability to scale up.
Sure.
And
of course.
But that prototype was sent for mass production, and we knew what exactly that was.
Mass production of missiles. That's fascinating. Boosted operational efficiency by 40%, introducing agile. That makes sense. Or is a company-wide training sessions. That's fine. That actually is fine. Negotiate ownership of full project lifecycle for team, demonstrating functional expertise during 3-month visit to global HQ, bringing in 1 million business, setting up precedents. So precedents for other teams across the business unit. I think you're saying setting up the precedent for other teams to do the same thing. I think that might be precedent rather than precedents, but maybe precedents as well. But also, you're saying too much stuff. Maybe you're trying to headline this thing, like here's the top line, but it's also at the bottom of your resume. So I would say still stick to the telling me one story at a time.
Yeah.
I think the $1 million in business is a good story to tell there. That's important. Mission critical product delivery milestone by developing these scripts and save 200,000 in costs. Why was it mission critical?
So,
Again, you don't need to answer it, but I mean, what I'm saying is, like, I read mission critical. How does that add to the story? Are you trying to say that? I guess with the word mission critical, it certainly means that if you don't do it, there will be some sort of serious consequences for the company. I assume that's what you meant, and maybe that is okay. Maybe I'm being a little too strict here in terms of using colorful language, but I think that makes sense. Mission critical. Save time. Again, you telling me two things there. You saved costs and worked on mission critical stuff. So maybe for mission critical stuff, it's important to demonstrate that you delivered it on time and on spec or whatever, because it's mission critical. But in another bullet, you can tell me that actually it saved a bunch of costs, because I guess that's where my cognitive dissonance set in, is where when you're talking about mission critical stuff, it's not about saving work hours or costs. It's about delivering it.
Okay.
And so maybe those are, again, two ideas you might want to tell in two different line items. And mentored team of 6, that's great. Slashing induction time by 3 weeks. Good, that's clean. Orchestrated co-location hardware, securing buy-in of top management. Good. Developing in-house testing, attaining 25% increase in on-time project delivery across the department. Yeah, that makes sense. And demonstrating buy-in, and executive buy-in, I think is important as well. And raised funding as well. Great. Implementation of 5+ projects by building a verification framework, presenting proof of concept, simplified decade-old software complexity. Just a little faster, because I think the point there is that you were able to put together a project plan and raise $100,000.
Yeah.
The fact that it's multiple projects is less important there than the fact that you created this presentation, you sold it, and you got the money. That's important. I would actually put that a little bit higher up. You got the 1 million in there, savings and costs, mission critical, teaching other people, building groups and building teams, and raising, convincing people to give you money, basically. And I think those technical skills are fine. Go back up top for just a moment. So that's where I think the education stuff could go on the bottom, because you got too much stuff in there.
Okay.
But you do have important things as well. You're calling out the president. You're calling out important things. So maybe you could experiment with that. Like, if you're getting good response rates already, and just tighten up the stuff that we talked about, you're good. If not, you could actually just try to put it on the bottom and see if that changes the flow. Because you've got plenty of metrics. I think if you address the issues we talked about today, I think you're looking pretty solid. You got engineering experience, product management experience. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with your response rates.
Okay.
All right. Other questions? Sorry, we had to kind of blast through this.
No, that's fine. A few, I think a few questions which I had, you kind of answered that in a bit, regarding, again, these are all the things which I did as, I have an engineering experience, but when I was talking to the product manager, they said that the interview calls comes mostly based on your latest experience, and as you were mentioning, and my latest experience has been towards the the summer intern and doing this. So do you think 4 is four number of bullet points is more, right? Or should I reduce it to 3? And
I wouldn't worry about it. 3, 4 doesn't really matter, as long as you're telling those compelling stories. You getting rid of the fluff, getting to the point, you keeping the metrics in there. I wouldn't worry about stuff like that. That's already, focus on the 80-20. 80% of the impact on anything that you do as a product manager in general.
Pareto rules, yeah.
20% of the effort to get 80% of the result, and then the rest you're thinking about, okay, tweaking this little thing. I would even not do that, and instead apply to more jobs. Like, if you think your resume is already looking good, find more opportunities to look for startups, look for bigger companies, and just try to find with me. Sometimes you write letters.
One last question which I had,
Sure.
2 weeks back, I started as a technical market analyst at a university. We have an incubation center where people come with their ideas, and we work on identifying whether that's a good idea or bad idea, and act as a technical market analyst for that. So where should I put that? Should I put that in my the schooling, like the school section, or should I put it above my product management intern experience?
Yeah, I think, but I don't know also what content is going to be there. If it's powerful content, it's a good opportunity to put it up top.
Okay.
Like a lot of impact, a lot of stuff that's relevant to product management. If not, then yeah, you could put it in the school. And also, you don't necessarily have to do it. So it's just if you think it's beneficial, or if it's somewhat beneficial, put it on the bottom. If it's strong, you can put it at the top. I think it can live in both places.
Okay, great, awesome. So
All right.
I guess those are all the questions which I had.
Sounds
Thank
awesome.
you so much, Alex.
You're very welcome. Keep me updated. Good luck. I think you can do very well.
It
All
was
right.
really, really helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Simon. Take care. It looks like we've lost Barham, who's waiting in staging area, but had to run. If you're watching this video, Barham, later on, just make sure to just shoot me an email or reach out on LinkedIn or something. Make sure that I take a look at your resume. I appreciate you waiting. Sorry we couldn't get to you. And everybody else, I see do have a few more folks in chat. Abhishek, we're going to try to get to you in a moment here if you're ready. And then let me just take a look in chat to see if there's any questions. So I think we're going to be able to do two more. So hopefully that will be okay. Abhishek, let me put you in the stream here. Abhishek, hello.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Welcome. It's a little bit of a delay, but I can hear you, but it's a little bit of a delay.
Okay.
So maybe we can talk. We can take turns speaking. So maybe you tell us a few words about yourself, what you're looking to get out of the session, what you're looking for in general, and then share your resume.
Okay. So hi, my name is Abhishek. So I'm currently a software engineer at a defense company. Right now, I've been interviewing for PM for the past 6 months. No luck. Only had a few interviews. So right now, I'm just trying to improve my resume, and I don't really have anywhere specific in PM to go into. But right now, I'm just exploring, learning more about it.
Sounds good. Sorry to hear that you haven't had responses. Let's take a look at your resume and see if we can change that up a little bit.
Yeah.
So just share it whenever you can. Okay, I see it. So,
All right.
Yep.
Can you see that?
We got it. All right, let me take a look. Okay, so we've got education up top because you are a recent graduate. That makes sense. Economics, Dean's List, excellence. You got some courseworks, data, algorithms, software. That makes sense. And now let's take a look at your work experience. Software engineer, collaborating across functional teams to develop critical products and software for the U.S. Navy. Ah, wow. Okay. As you mentioned. So what does C++ mean in this case? Does that mean you are a C++ software engineer?
Yeah, so I included languages because initially when I was applying to jobs, I was applying to a mix of software and product. So I'd include the languages. I guess like I was thinking now that I'm applying to PM, I guess the languages don't really matter as much, but now and then I apply to some software roles. So I keep the languages.
I would say that definitely that doesn't necessarily make sense at a product manager interview.
Right.
It's like, if I was reviewing for a product manager position, I would think like, oh, maybe you're actually looking for an engineering, like software engineering role, but you're also looking to product. Just make a separate resume if you can. It's like, here's product. It's all about product management. Here's software engineering, all about software engineering. Now, product management one certainly can have a lot of stuff about engineering. It's useful, but we want to, when reviewing folks in product management, we want to make sure that that's what you're excited about, and that's what you're building products is actually what you want to do.
Okay.
And so that line up top, collaborating across functional teams, I don't know what that is. Like, is that's not I almost thought that that's like a description of sort of the company that you're working for rather than that you're doing, because it's not it's not. It doesn't have. It's sort of all encompassing. It doesn't have a particular thing you're talking about, and it doesn't have impact. It's just sort of like this is just the stuff that I do, and it's extremely. It's extremely responsibility oriented as opposed to execution and impact driven, which is what product management is about.
So the reason why I have that is because I just started. So I mostly been doing trainings and have been kind of just learning about my project. So haven't really made an impact because I just started 2 months ago. So I'm fairly like really new to the role. So the reason why I included that was because my team specifically creates tech for the fighter jets that the U.S. Navy uses.
Wow.
So that's why I just kept it as a description because I haven't really done too much yet, so there isn't really much to talk about.
Sure. Then you don't necessarily need to include that, right?
Okay.
It almost because you know if you just started there, is it an? It is so it's August, right? So if you just started just literally a few months ago, and you're looking for another position, that I don't know that that's necessarily effective. Like I would say, wait until you have something to put over there, and then you can actually put focus on the impact. As it is, it's a little kind of breaks up the story a little bit. That would be my kind of stance on that. Well, let's see what else you got here. Investment technology summer analyst. Developed, so again, the languages for product management you definitely want to remove because it creates this strong theme of like, wait, this person definitely is an engineer. Because product managers definitely don't think in terms of languages.
Right.
Think about like what we're trying to get done. Developed and automated, not to insinuate that engineers think in terms of languages, but you know, obviously it's important. Like what, actually, I would even say for engineers, it's not as important what languages you operate in comfortably, as in how good are you at adapting to new environments, and how good are you at the concept of software engineering in general. Developed an automated interview scheduler platform that transformed the hiring team scheduling process from 1 week to 5 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty great. Pretty great. Why was the scheduling process 1 week?
Yeah, so how scheduling works. So during recruiting season, the hiring team would have a lot of, I guess, candidate availabilities, and they would have employee availabilities, and they had to somehow match that. So there was Princeton University Investment Company was a very small team, about 40 people. So there's only 2 people in HR making these schedules. So they had to they had to match availabilities between employees and candidates, and that took about like a week to figure out how they can match everyone's availabilities. So we came onto this project. So me and a partner came onto this project, trying to just automate that because we thought it'd help them.
For sure, I think it is very strong. Obviously, you're making a point. Like we changed it from 1 week to 5 minutes. I think it's actually a pretty cool hook. If you can make it even a little bit shorter, transform the scheduling process. Yeah, hiring team. No, I think you've already got it as short as you can. If you can make it shorter, even better. But I like it. It kind of gets my attention. It's like,
what would you recommend for? Oh, sorry.
No, we still got the delay, so you gotta wait. You gotta wait a little bit before you speak, so we can hear each other.
Yeah. What would you recommend for instead developed?
I think it's fine. I think you want to say that you led like end-to-end development, but it's a feature. Like it's not it's not a huge complex product. So I think developed is fine there.
Okay.
Managed an agile approach for projects to improve engagement between teams and align project developments with Prinko's strategy. That one is the only thing I'm getting away from that is that you leveraged agile. And I don't know if that's what you're trying to tell me or if you want to tell me more impactful stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to say more that we implemented a more of an agile methodology because before we kind of worked in silos with teams. So we wouldn't really talk too much with the hiring team to figure out what they want and what features is really important to them. We kind of just took the requirements of what they wanted in this, I guess, product and just built it our own. And it wasn't until one of our meetings we realized that there's a huge discrepancy from what we built and what the hiring team wanted. So we decided to follow a more agile approach to work with the hiring team and keep them involved with the development process rather than just working in silos.
That all makes sense, but if you can tell that story in like 8 words, then I would rather you put it there, because right now the only thing comes through is that you worked with Agile. But if you're trying to tell me that you actually solved the pain point through Agile, then that's not coming through. And you want to try to see how you can make it through. Like, why did you do Agile and what did it deliver? Make sure you watch the rest of my videos that talk about like the things to focus on resume, because that's like, obviously the impact is what you want to focus on. You want to think about it from the point of view of the hiring manager, all that stuff. So make sure to check those videos out if you haven't already. Very short and to the point. Delivered extensive product research in various teams to identify effective applications to support $26 billion endowment operations. Not clear enough, not specific enough. You tell me this huge number, which I'm interested in, but I don't understand how to make sense of your involvement in it. Not only do I not know what happened with this $26 billion fund is, I don't know what your role may have been. So I don't know a lot of stuff, and you got to tell me those stories. Google IT, optimize productivity at 50%. Again, we've got optimizing productivity. That's the 3rd time today we're talking about like optimizing productivity. Make sure you know what that is. Everybody wants to optimize it, but as a product manager, you got to get specific about what that productivity is. Information that creates and shares meeting notes before employees scheduled meetings. That's pretty great, actually. That's very specific, but I don't understand what 50% improvement in productivity is, so think about that. Led design of a platform for 2,000 employees to submit issues to team troubleshoot problems. Yeah, that's good. You show me scope, 2,000 employees to submit these issues for Google IT team to review. If you're trying to demonstrate the fact that you led the design of a platform for a lot of people, then just say that, about the fact that it's about a Google IT team to review and troubleshoot problems, that this was kind of irrelevant to the story you're telling. Make sure, check your lines to make sure they're relevant. Analyze 30 employee user stories to build Google API-based tools and aid employees transition to use. Employee user stories of Google products. So basically you looked at a backlog of stuff and you decided on what to work on. I don't know what the result of that was. I know that you looked at 30 stories, but tell me what you did with it. That's what's missing there. Automated AWS cloud for users to create custom cloud infrastructure 75% more efficiently. That one is probably makes sense to use efficiency 75% more efficiently. Did that lead to some sort of cost savings? Did it translate to 75% cost savings? If it did, then that's powerful. If not, then maybe don't mention it. But if it did, then I think it makes sense to mention.
Okay.
Promoted intrapreneurship. Intrapreneurship or entrepreneurship? Is this like
entrepreneurship? So entrepreneurship kind of means like entrepreneurship within a company.
Yeah, I was saying it's actually intrapreneurship. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just within the company. Right. I like it. I like it. By designing web application careers, crowdsourcing ideas. I like it. That's strong. Wrote 15 plus some stories, negotiated timelines, built user-centric. Again, see, you walk into this like ephemeral territory where you say about building user-centric applications with agile principles, strong impact and fluff. Just when you read this stuff, just be honest with yourself. When you read it as fluff, then the other person that's reviewing it will also read it as fluff, and just get rid of it and tell the story you actually want to tell with strong impact. If you don't have it, find proxies. If you don't have that, tell a different story, or just be sufficient. Still remove the fluff. Like it still won't add anything to it. If you already mentioned Agile in the past, you don't need to bring it up again. I get it. You know Agile. You appreciate its strengths. Now projects. By the way, is this still 1 page or is this 2 pages now?
This is 1 page.
Nice. Well done. Job tracker. So this is how I read project lists. I won't really read the lines. Usually when I'm reviewing it, I'll just look at what it is. Okay, so job tracker. I understand that, so I'll keep going. Indecisive. Developing application to assist picking a random place to eat based on a restaurant or user's local area. That's pretty cool. You can say developing. Is this like developing because it's ongoing right now?
Yeah, so it's like a side project of mine. So basically, the background of it was I'm like really indecisive where to eat, so I want to make an application for myself where I can just pick where to go around my area and not have to like consistently going back and forth on what I want to choose.
I like it. You should share that with me because I could use that as well.
It's
I
yeah,
think a lot of
definitely.
people have that, by the way. That's very interesting. Create an Android application, keep track, to keep track. Just a little grammatical.
Okay.
By the way, since you brought up a grammatical mistake, I just go over your resume to make sure there's no grammatical, spelling, punctuation mistakes, because it's worth it. It's worth it. It's that attention to detail. Some people will be irked by it.
Yeah.
Keep track of the flow of people in the space. Yeah, that's great. It's awesome. And then you got leadership as well. Business fraternity, led efforts enhanced students' careers. Good. 50 incoming members, professional mentor. Great. Director, logistics, events. New student rotation, itineraries, welcome 6,000. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, good leadership tools. I think good technical skills. That all makes sense. I think it looks good.
Thank you.
Abhishek, you're in pretty good shape. Maybe just address the stuff that we talked about and make it PM centered. Definitely take the time to just focus on the PM's side of things. And I think it should do well. Let me know how it goes. Maybe come back and see us again. Keep track of your response rates so that we know how it's going, and then let me know how it's going. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Abhishek. Okay, we're gonna do one more. Rachna, let me try to bring you in here in the show. Zara, thank you very much for being with us. And it sounds like Zara says good info in there, so you're looking good, Abhishek. Like I said, that resume is pretty nice. So Rachna, let me bring you in the stream. Hello and welcome.
Hi, how are you, Alex?
I'm doing well, Rachna. Sorry, it looks like there's a delay again. StreamYard is having some difficulties with this, but it's going to get better as we speak. So maybe just do a quick introduction and then share your resume on the screen.
Sure. Hey everyone, my name is Rachna Sethi. I've actually been in product management for over 15-20 years. So this is for me, it is really, I wanted Alex to take a look at my resume because I wanted another experienced eye just to see what I might not see on my own. I actually help do this for other folks all the time, but I feel like I can't see my own things sometimes. So I just wanted to get a better sense of a more experienced eye because Alex has been doing this for so long. So yeah.
Yeah, right. I think that's awesome. That's great. Usually we get folks that are kind of early on in the career and with limited experience. So I think it'll be definitely good to see someone a little bit more experienced. Yeah, happy to look at that.
Thank you. Let me see if I can share my screen and if this works. Give me 1 second. Can you see it?
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, the only problem I've been seeing with the StreamYard, I can't see it yet.
Ah, okay.
I can't see it shared in yet. It might be a similar situation I think that we had with Amit, where we couldn't quite share the screen. If need be, you can always refresh or rejoin, and I'll bring you back in.
Let me see if I can do that. Okay.
Sure. In the meantime, folks, thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this one, I think I have the energy to do these for a few more Saturdays at least. Make sure to subscribe and also hit the like button so that I know that you want to see more resume reviews in the future. We also got plenty of other videos talking about resume reviews, and you can look at it and hopefully it'll help you make your own resume for product manager. And you can also follow me on LinkedIn, where I post sometimes also about product management business. And finally, make sure you subscribe at the newsletter, where you can be the first to know about upcoming events or shows that we're doing. That's at alexruchevsky.com, and I'll leave the link in the description below. Okay, looks like Rachna is back. Let me try to bring you back here. Okay, so we're back. Let's see if you can share your screen.
Give me 1 second. Can you see it now?
No, I can't. Maybe you want to try different browser. Maybe you can. What you can also do, you can send it to me on LinkedIn if like a different browser doesn't work.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You could also, I could just look at it somewhere else and then just.
Let me just. I'll ping it to you on LinkedIn. Give me a second.
Let me try that. All right, folks, we're gonna do.
Yeah, it looks like there's like an issue on the Chrome browser.
And are you running? It's yeah. It looks like we can't get a perfect software. StreamYard is better than we tried last time. Still pretty clunky.
Sorry.
Yeah, ping it to me on LinkedIn, and let me see if I can share my screen. Screen sharing is easiest with 2 monitors. Screen sharing works best on a good computer. Okay, maybe I'll just read through it. Sasha, thanks.
Okay, I just sent it to you.
Oh, thanks, Rachna. Today's stream is a cherry on top. Thank you for all the participants. You'll do great, and best of luck, Sasha. Thank you so much. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it, and I'm glad you found it useful. Okay, Rachna, I see it. Let me open it up, and we'll just talk through it. Maybe you can open it for yourself, and I'll open it here.
Yeah.
I won't share my screen because I don't know. Also,
sorry,
because I only have 1 monitor, so it won't work.
All good.
Hang on a second.
I had just blocked out, the stuff at the top for privacy reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Makes sense. All right, so hang on a second. Let me open this. Makes me now I have to run Microsoft Word, which I haven't run.
I know I should have put this on Google Docs for you.
Yeah, but no, I'm finding out so much about Microsoft's penetration in documents. Like I certainly know that Microsoft Word was big, but like I don't know these days.
Right.
So hang on a second, because I'm going to try to open it. Because of course Word is not opening for me, as you can imagine.
Oh, great.
So we're gonna get through it. If you want to actually put it in a Google Doc and share it with me, that would be ideal, because I'm trying to do the same thing.
Oh.
Let me
see if I can do that quickly.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing actually. Let's see who can do it first. Here we go. Oh no, it's not like that. Let's try it. I'm uploading it to Google, and let me see. Google, help me out. Google, help me out. I can see it. All right, great.
Okay, great.
Perfect. I'm gonna give the point to Google on this one. Completely,
excellent.
Completely objective opinion here. All right, here we go. So you got a blurb at the top, and sometimes it makes sense. Certainly, if you have more experience, I think it makes sense. You said product executive with 15 years experience driving high growth tech strategy development and product innovation, proven track record of defining digital product strategy, setting vision, designing, building new product experiences, shipping complex customer facing features under demanding timelines, fast paced agile environments, experience in developing consumer and enterprise products and social media, advertising tech, communication tech, mobile, online dating, e-commerce. That is awesome. But I would say, why not just show all that in bullets? Like I think some of that stuff is actually functionally useful, like the B2B and B2C stuff, and also specific areas of focus like online dating, communication tech, ad tech. That's all powerful, but why not just put it into the bullets? So I would say, let's start from that, and let's see if we can't make that work. That way, you're basically saving yourself 5 lines, and then we can get right into the good stuff. Now, then you got a blurb about expertise and qualifications. which is interesting. Let me see what you've sort of highlighted there. So you say revenue focused, influenced $10 billion at Facebook, direct report to CEO and Spark at Spark Networks. 10 billion with a B. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's one of those situations where I would say the blurb makes sense. Rashna, the blurb makes sense over there. That's those big numbers. Totally makes sense. Now let's see what else you got. Prioritization, ability to make decisions of relative importance and focus on delivering for impact. I say that one. Let's take it out. Show it to me in the actual bullets rather than say it to me. Right? Like,
okay.
Show it to me. Don't tell me. Let's keep going. Led and built multi-level teams, developed talent with product, design, data analytics, marketing, PR. Largest team was 22 people. Managed resource staffing needs and P&L. I think that's strong. Also, look, you've been at this for a while, and you've got plenty of management experience. Maybe make it a little bit shorter because you're telling me cross-functional. You're telling me team building. You're telling me 22 people. That gives me meaningful information. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Complex problem solving. I have a sense already when I hear complex problem solving, I have a sense that I'm going to cut this one, but let me see. Identifying complex problems, reviewing related information, develop and evaluate options, implement solutions, including build, buy, partner strategies. Almost an easy cut. The only reason I say almost is because you've got partner strategies, but still, let's get rid of it. Put it into the bullets.
Got it.
So now, look, we kept two. We kept revenue focused and management, but we cut prioritization and problem solving because they're fluffy. They're not specific. Mm-hmm. Roadmaps, skilled at executing plans on roadmap and defining communication strategies, product vision. So close. I think that one's not bad, but I would still cut and put into the bullets. Show me how you work with roadmaps down below.
Okay.
Visionary thinking, setting the vision and path forward by valuing different technologies and their ability to enrich the experience. Knowledge and computer vision, voice technology, use of AI. I think those are important domain points, but let's see if you can, again, demonstrate those. So out of the expertise and qualifications, maybe instead of using 5 lines for your summary at the top and using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullets for your qualifications below that, why don't we take all that and just take product executive with 15 plus years experience, then B2B, B2C, and these specialties, revenue focused, billion, and management. You got 4 bullets out of all that stuff that you can say in basically a fourth of the space, and they're getting super impactful because like a lot of experience, management experience, cash money, and lots of different domains. And I think that would be a useful summary.
Okay.
And that's making me reconsider that maybe once you do have some experience and you do have some cool stuff under your belt, you can leverage summaries effectively. But again, it's not a traditional summary. Those 5 lines at the top, that's a traditional summary, basically doesn't help us. But the line where you get my attention, wake me up with that 10 billion, right? 10 billion, right?
Right.
That's, I'll keep reading after that. So that's interesting. Management, that's interesting. All those domain areas, that's interesting to me. If I'm interested in those domain areas, I'll skip it if I'm not. So I think maybe those 3 or 4 up top we can keep. Now let's dig into the main course here. Let's see what we got. So you do have, again, you have your high level summary at the top of each experience level.
Right.
Director of Product Management, connected to 1,200 mobile carriers worldwide, clearing data, financial settlements, and messaging communication products, lead solutions and grow communications platform and service offerings for enterprises, a critical initiative expected to drive 30% top line revenue for 2020. Product owner of platform delivering 60 billion messages a month, reaching 7 billion devices globally. That's pretty powerful. That is pretty powerful, but long.
I agree. Yeah.
You got to cut it. Yeah, like because again, you got so much experience, you know all the that but maybe when you hear me say it, you're gonna it's gonna be like a sounding board. So I think that could be useful.
Yeah.
Promoted to lead and transform the strategy from identity and mobile engagement products. We don't need to say that because I already see that you're a director of product management. So I think maybe if you want to tell me that you're leading and transforming the CPAS strategy, maybe you could put it into different bullets where you say led and transformed as follows, because you already told me that 60 billion, 7 billion devices, maybe that's the place where you're saying like, this is the place that I am leading and transforming, as opposed to, basically a bullet about being promoted.
Yeah. The reason why I sort of said that is because when I started, I did not have the CPaaS strategy fully, right?
Sure.
I had like the mobile engagement and some identity products. And then I was taking further responsibility to do that part.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. And a lot of times you'll have, even in the same company, you might have like multiple roles as you're getting promoted and you're getting more scope. And I think that's fine. But you're telling me the story of the scope that you had.
Right.
You want to tell me the story that you also progressed in your career? I don't think it's as powerful as actually telling me the story of what you did in that higher position.
Got it.
I think that kind of makes sense to me, because I already know, it's just sort of like factually, okay, now you're director, so now you have more scope, and you're telling me about the scope. Now I want to know about what choices you made there, what decisions you made there. Driver product team, 200 engineers. Great. Integrate 800 connectors, APIs, various enterprise systems. So let's get more specific. I like those numbers. That's great scope, because the takeaway there for me is big scope, lots of engineering, complexity.
Yep.
You don't need to actually have a lot of complexity and lots of words in order to convey that there's complexity in your work.
Sure.
Try to say it in less words. To add real-time communications capabilities, voice, video, WhatsApp, and SMS to business applications, enabling brands to offer distinctive, differentiated offerings to their own customers. You tell me a little bit more about the business. You're sort of pitching me on the business. You don't need to do that. You're demonstrating that you worked with huge scope, 200. Like, that's the point.
Right.
So maybe, and the point is like plus complexity. Lots of scope plus complexity equals tough work. I can certainly appreciate that. Mobilize the front-end Salesforce application connected to our CPAS while simplifying pricing model, providing 35% margins on revenue customers pre-sold versus a target of 20%. Good. Just a little bit shorter and more concise, the same thing, but I like it. You're improving margins, and you are doing it by simplifying.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Also, I usually ask people to like, tell me the impact, like tell me what you did and what's this thing. But as you go higher in your scope, then of course you have to up level everything.
Yeah.
You can't be talking about like little features. A lot of times you drive vision. So it's completely
none of that stuff is there. Yeah.
And that's totally fine. And you know it as well as I do. You have bigger scope than I had in my work. So you know that as you get higher and higher, you sort of have to zoom out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay. The opportunities you're going to be looking for are going to be exactly those opportunities most of the time, like at or near the level of scope that you had, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on which company. And so you have to present it that way. You have to show that you're able to even processing these type of, this many engineers and this much revenue and usage and all of that stuff.
Right.
Makes sense. Lead strategy. Okay, so there, by the way, just a little thing. You got promoted, drive, mobilized, but you might want to change that to led. I'm pretty sure that you in the past.
Yeah, I debated about it because I was just like, is this present still? No, you're right. Sure. You're totally right. Yep.
I think as long as it's consistent, you can say like driving and mobilizing and inspiring. So like you just pick a tense and stick with it.
Yeah.
Lead strategy. So lead strategy on complex B2B to C problems into use cases for scale solutions, messaging sale for customer engagement, aligning revenue goals to exceed double margins, driving 21% 3-year kicker. Yeah. So I think that's excellent. Excellent. We just need to say it a little bit shorter, because I get the complexity there. I think just the fact that you say complex B2B to C, like I already get it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's fine. If we can make it shorter, great. If not, then I'm happy with that, because you're focusing on margins. You're focusing on leading, long term, 3 years, not really long term, but long term in the business growth. That's strong. Next, inspire consensus and C-suite for strategy to enter healthcare vertical. Planning and funding underway. Excellent. I would just make that into one line, because again, you're one word short. So I think you're close there.
It's under one line for me. I guess on Google Docs.
Google Docs. Yep. But it actually changed it. PDF document, so I just assumed that this is what it is. But of course, it had to change it to from.
Yeah. It probably looks a lot longer on some of the other stuff too.
You're submitting it, by the way. Are you submitting it as PDF though, right?
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Just to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's great. Yep, C-suite. That makes sense. And at that level, it's expected. Okay, Facebook. Monetization, regional product marketing manager. Okay, global gaming. Product strategy, navigating growth of revenue on direct response and brand ad products between sales leadership and the ads growth engineering across Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp. Influential voice and product market fit, positioning, go-to-market, growth of advertising products, multiple regions, verticals. So if you're going to keep those blurbs at the top, you've got to figure out how to make them much shorter, like preferably 1 line or 2 line at the most, because you're telling me the most important thing. Just choose the most important thing and say it. I think because you have so much powerful stuff in your bullets, I want the reader to get there, just to get to the bullets. Led go-to-market on customer acquisition products such as mobile app ads. Yeah, I'm very familiar with mobile app ads.
You are.
Ads, lead generation solution, referrals, offers, impacted 10 billion by bringing the voice of the market, the price, and work in engineering, implement machine learning, automation, AI optimization, AEO, and value conversion. So the folks that work in ads will understand what you're saying there, but everybody else will not. And so that feels a little bit wishy-washy, right? Because you're going after such a huge, you're making a claim on 10 billion, but now I want to know how much of that 10 billion was your personal impact. And that's not coming across as clearly.
Mm-hmm.
You just take the time to think about how you want to get more specific about that. By the way, 10 billion is outrageous. Like that footprint is incomprehensible. But if you say, your direct influence because of this thing was 400 million or 200 million, that's still, huge.
I had a fairly large scope. No, I had a fairly large scope there. So
there you go. And then you just show it a little bit, and maybe we'll get to it as we're going to continue reading here. But I think that in those situations where, like at the top, you introduced it, it makes sense. But now bring it down to personal level, and it could be the entire 10 billion. Fine, but just you show it to me.
Sure.
And also shorten that, right? Like that's a big piece, a big bullet point that's going to be mostly understood by folks in ad tech or in the ad world, which is fine. But you want to take out the meaning from what you're doing there, like event optimization, value conversions for apps, and like it might read to a person that doesn't know that you're basically saying that. Like you're sort of mixing things together, bringing the voice of the market together with AI and all of these products, which you don't understand unless you're in ad tech.
Correct.
That impacts the 10 billion, right? So basically read it in the future as a person that doesn't know ad tech and is trying to understand how you led value creation for the company.
Yeah.
Right, because I think you're in a product marketing. So obviously value creation is very essential to what you do.
Right.
Created and executed a data-driven master growth plan for mobile app ads by great users across all North American verticals and channels. This includes defining market opportunities, highly complex events, direct response, nuanced ad projects for large and scaled, not for tail advertisers, probably scaled tail advertisers. You got an extra word in there. That's another thing, is that when you have these meaty bullets, you're more liable to make mistakes that are grammatical or spelling or just syntax, and it doesn't look great. It won't impact you as much because of like the bulk of the experience, but for the folks that are starting out, it does make a bigger difference. Exceeded all goals, re-accelerated revenue growth to unprecedented levels. Yeah, well, we certainly, the rest of us in the Valley appreciate you doing that. It's very difficult to compete sometimes, but
I know where you're going with that one.
but I understand.
Yeah.
So again, make that shorter. I think that's my overwhelming kind of response for everything is just make it shorter, because you've got great stuff in there. Huge revenue growth year on year. Showcase it.
Yeah.
You don't need to, like, again, I kind of know it's complex just because it's Facebook or it's like a big tech company. So I know there's huge complexity. If you can tell me a way that it's complex by telling me that there's tail advertisers, I already know
So
it's complex.
yeah, so I mean, I had influence over both like the large advertisers, but I was also responsible for the growth plan for like the SMB and the tail.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it was all
Yeah, and the tail again, like there's huge complexity in both of those. The
Yeah.
large
Completely
advertisers,
different.
Yeah, different complexity, but super complex, both of them.
Yep.
I can certainly appreciate that as well. Just tell me that story faster.
Okay.
Launched at scale lead ads from 0. Okay, great. That's startup, mentality. 1 million a day in the first year. My goodness. Ran the largest.
That's where I started at Facebook.
250 advertiser case studies. So again, the most powerful thing there is that like you launched and scaled it to those huge numbers. I would even bold that. By the way, in your resume, I don't know, maybe that's again not coming through because of Google, but I would bold a few of these key areas. Maybe the 10 billion doesn't need to be bolded; it speaks for itself. But like 0 to 1 million a day, like that's just again incomprehensible for most folks.
It's $1 billion product at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. So
there's part of your 1 billion right there.
Yeah, so I think this is great, and honestly. Also, this is another thing that maybe I want to just create a distinction here for folks. So as you get more experience and as you work with these broader scope products, your resume are going to be read more thoroughly in general. It's not always going to be an 8 to 10 second scan when you're talking about huge impact, the director, like leadership positions, big management. So you will get more attention, and I would imagine, Rachna, that you would get a great response rate if you send this out.
Yeah,
so
I generally have. Yeah.
Yes, I would not. This is like we're trying to make it better, but like it already for someone who's looking for the person, they're going to take the time and read through it, and so it's like you probably.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I've used this particular resume format for at least 10 years now in my career. Like it's always come back to this. And you would think that the longer lines and the longer things would be a deterrent. It hasn't been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got, we keep reading it. You've got like, what do you have? You've got growth, you've got impact, you've got leadership, stakeholder management, all that stuff in there. And so now if you were, I imagine if you were in the beginning of your career though, and even if you had all that stuff, it would make a difference because your resume, you might not even have the resume read because it's so large.
Agreed.
But as you get further, then people will just be reading your resume for a minute. They'll take 2 minutes. They'll take time to read through it. So, but still, I think it'll be an effect from just tightening it up. I don't know. Is it 3 pages now, or
it's actually 2? If I gave you my PDF, I should have sent you my PDF.
Okay. Oh, I see. So 2 pages. I think it's totally fine for this. Yeah. And honestly, I think I would have, as you can imagine, have invited you to all the interviews already. I would probably not need to even keep reading here. So I would say it's great. Obviously, Rachna, it's terrific. I don't think we need to even continue here. If you do for some reason, run into some sort of response rate issue, obviously, let me know. And
thank you. I appreciate that.
And I think I don't want to necessarily direct folks, but I'm sure you help other people with resumes as well, because it sounds like you know how this stuff is done.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Like, I just wanted you to take a look and just get your take on it, because sometimes, like I said, it's hard to just see my own thing sometimes.
For sure. So yeah, very, very happy to have gone through that, and thank you for demonstrating. Sometimes, again, folks don't see like the more experienced candidates, and so I think it's actually also good for other people to see. Oh, that's actually what a good resume looks like after some time at the job.
Sure.
So thank you for demonstrating that. Any other questions that you have?
No, I'm pretty good. The one quick question for you, just in terms of technical background and education, is that something at this level that you would even look for again, or it's already demonstrated? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. So once you get 10, 12, 15 years experience, Technical is a different thing because we want to see it in the work. But as you get higher and as more of your work becomes people management,
correct,
it also becomes less important. So it's much more important that you can communicate and lead teams and navigate these complex, or organizational complexities. Then you have technical aspect, unless of course there is a piece to the business. Like again, it's a hardware business, or we're launching rockets for Elon, as I always say. Like whatever, there might be some complexities there. And in terms of education, I would even say there's some situations where like an MBA is relevant and impressive, but in certain situations, if you've already got the impact, you've got demonstrated experience, I would not look at
I've got a couple of degrees there, so I'm not worried about that. But like, I'm just curious.
You don't need to highlight it because it's all about the experience once you get into it. And if you don't have gaps in experience also, then it doesn't become an issue. And so we would never really think about that. We just go down and go by the experience.
Sounds good. No, I appreciate the feedback. That's helpful.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Very nice to meet you, and very nice
to meet you too. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks for coming by.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. All right, folks. I know, Sergey, thanks for joining us. The resume was not on the screen where I was reviewing it, and it was sent to me via LinkedIn because we couldn't get StreamYard working. But thank you all very much for joining us. I appreciate it. I hope you found this valuable. If you do want to see more sessions like this, then make sure to subscribe to the channel and also subscribe to the newsletter. I'll leave the link down in the description below. And of course, hit the like button if you haven't already, if you want to see more videos like this one, and leave a comment if you want a particular topic covered or you want me to review your resume next. All right, everyone, thank you very much for joining us, and I'll see you next time.